In the Zach LaVine trade, the Chicago Bulls added Tre Jones, Kevin Huerter, and Zack Collins. And AK talked about what the young guys have to show the final 30 games. Let's talk about what each of those three bring to the current Chicago Bulls team on today's edition of the Chicago Bulls Breeze. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago Bulls daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Bulls, how Bulls fans talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. And listen, a lot of you guys have been added to the channel. We've grown over 300 subscribers in like 4 days of having the channel back up. Appreciate y'all for showing love. But as you can see, 79% of you watching the content not subscribed. Man, take a second to hit that subscribe button. We're going to grow this thing to over 10,000 subs and constant Bulls love over here. Well, I don't know about all love. It's not going to all be love, right? But we're going to continue to grow this channel, man, and I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. It is love between me and you. Me and you, the audience. There's so much love there, C-Red Nation. Let's talk about the three Chicago Bulls that have been added to this team, because realistically, right, they're not coming from these great stat lines, which is why they were moved on from, right? We're not talking about guys who were sitting here absolutely dominating in their previous location. There are some things that you kind of have to look at previous seasons to get a good feel on. And realistically speaking, you don't know if they're going to be able to get that kind of playing time here in Chicago. And let's start it off with Tre Jones, right? To me, Tre Jones is somebody who, when you look at his game, I think you have to start with the playmaking. And the big question is, you know, what's he going to bring off of the bench? If he brings anything playmaking-wise, I love it, because you look at that bench unit, right? And yeah, there is going to be possibly Ayo Dosunmu on the bench, but I think he is somebody who operates better when you put him in a good position. I think if you have somebody who is putting P. Will in some good positions, that could be something that the Bulls absolutely could benefit from, right? P. Will has gotten a lot better with that, with taking the three-point shot. And I think if you put him in some good positions, now with him kind of cemented in that bench player role, as long as there are no injuries, it does seem like you want to give him a solid point guard for him to be able to feed off of. The playmaking, to me, I think is the best thing. He was averaging 6.5 assists per game when he was a starter. Now those numbers have, again, dropped off completely. 2023 is last year as a starter. He's averaging 27 minutes a game. He was 10 points per game. He was 6.2 assists. The season before, he averaged 29 minutes a game. He was 12 points per game. He was 6.6 assists. And so if he can come in and kind of give you those level of numbers, I think you feel good about it. Here's the thing, though. Is he going to get those kind of shots? That's the part where the scoring, I don't know if that's something that does come back. But as far as the excuse me, I'm keeping it in. This is a real channel. I'm keeping it. I apologize for that. Appreciate you guys. What the heck? My brain just reset after that sneeze. I think as far as a playmaker, you have to feel good about you know, what Tre Jones can bring to the team. And I think you have some pieces off of the bench that you hope will be able to benefit from that. Now, defensively, I think you could talk about him as a strong on-ball defender as well. Now, the size is always going to play a part in this, right? He's only 6'1", and I feel like it's one of those pushed 6'1s, right, where you're like, he might be 5'11". But as far as an on-ball defender, I do like what you can see from Tre Jones. I think that does add some defense, some versatility, some physicality and toughness. A gritty player when he was a starter off of the bench. I like that, and I think it's something that the Bulls needed here in Chicago, and they got a couple of players that do bring that here. To me, I think that's the that is the one thing that if you can bring some of that grittiness, if you can bring some of that toughness to the Bulls, that may be able to get you some of these games where, right, it just seems like there's not enough effort, there's not enough fight here, with the mindset of Modest now kind of taking a bigger role here with the Chicago Bulls, and hopefully seeing more of that moving forward. You know, I think if you've got a few players that can do that and can contribute with playmaking and defense, that'll be fun. I think that Tre Jones brings all of that. And then, you know, the turnover to assist ratio, that's just kind of what those Jones boys do. I mean, they extremely efficient point guards. He's going to protect the ball. He's going to take care of the ball. And I think that's something that as a Bulls fan, this team absolutely needs, because how many times does the bench unit come in and we're just like, why do they keep giving the ball away? Why? Like, you got to know at a certain point, don't turn the basketball over. I think that the turnover ratio, he's only averaged 1 turnover his entire career. Now, and when he averaged that 1 turnover, it was when he was averaging his highest assist numbers since he's been kind of, down in the a little lower in the rotation. 4 assists, 3 assists there. Those assist numbers dip, but it all is in relation with I'm sorry, those turnover numbers dip, but it's all in relation with where the team has utilized him most, how much time he's getting on the court. But just good IQ, good ball movement. Love what he brings as far as the fundamentals of the game. I think that he is a true traditional kind of point guard, and that could be something that the Bulls could benefit from off of the bench. Now, knowing that Lonzo Ball probably stays in the starting lineup here, I would assume for the foreseeable future, I would think you're going to go with a Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Lonzo Ball, Matas Buzelis, and Nikola Vucevic starting lineup, and that brings now a true kind of point guard back to that bench unit, and that's something that the Bulls kind of can hang their hat on. Swapping in Lonzo to go to Tre Jones, not a bad thing. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button if you have not done so. Let me know your thoughts on Tre Jones coming to this team. Do you like the acquisition of Tre Jones? Again, the big question is he going to get more minutes here on the Bulls? I don't think he suddenly becomes a 30 minutes per game player. I think you've kind of got your rotation set with that. So what's he going to give you in the 16 to 18 minutes that might be allocated his way? We'll end up seeing what that has. Next up on the list, I think this is the one that is the most interesting, because Kevin Huerter was also acquired here by the Chicago Bulls. And to me, I put this out on Twitter earlier because Kevin Huerter was talking to, I think he was talking to like Bulls press after one of the practices. But to me, Kevin Huerter has never fit with the Sacramento Kings. It made no sense to me that he was a part of that roster. It seemed like, early when he first got there and they were more prone to having him be a major part of things there, the shot still was kind of falling for him. He was shooting 40% from the 3-point line on 7 attempts just about. He was 15 points per game, right? He was this perfect scorer that you needed. But again, he was in that starting lineup. He was somebody important. Malik Monk got over there, and all of a sudden you just slowly started seeing him more and more pushed to the back burner. And by this season, right, when you watch Kings games, he just didn't fit in with that team at all. This one is probably the one that intrigues me the most, because we've seen Kevin Huerter be a guy who can shoot 38% from deep for a team that has shot the 3-ball much better this season. I think adding him to the mix on that is going to be very interesting for the Bulls. I think the fact that you've got some versatility where, again, Tre Jones, another point guard on the team, at least here with Kevin Huerter, he's 6'7", right? He can play that shooting guard position, but he also has some of that forward ability. He can put the ball on the floor. He's got an ability to handle the ball. He's got an ability to get to the basket. I think the offense is going to have a real pop for him, and I think his shooting stroke does come back with Chicago Bulls, because he's going to be in a more up-tempo offense that I think fits more with him. And as bad as the Bulls have been, Kevin Huerter coming here and working with Peter Patton, I think is going to be absolutely great for his career. Not only just if he sticks around with the Bulls, because his contract does expire next season, so the Bulls could hold on to him if they don't move him in the offseason. But if you hold on to him, right, he's a spark. He's somebody that I think can absolutely get hot and create some of that offense. He is from that. Now, he's not that same level of player, and he's definitely not that kind of a defender, but he's from that Klay Thompson mold, right? Doesn't need a lot of dribbles to get to a shot. Doesn't need a lot of doesn't need to use his handle a ton. A great catch and shoot player, somebody who can pull up from deep, from all around the arc. I mean, like those are the things that I think are going to accentuate what the Bulls can do offensively. Now, the biggest question is going to be the defense with Kevin Huerter, but that's the biggest question with just about everybody on this team. The offense isn't really a problem for the Bulls here. Defensively is kind of where we need to see this team take a step up, and we just haven't seen that this season. In moments where they decide to play defense, all of a sudden they're one of the best teams in the NBA, right? You look at that. What was it, the Miami game, right? They gave up 72 points at the half, and you're just sitting there going, wow, we're going to give up 140 points today. They give up 52 in the second half of that game, and all of a sudden we're sitting there easily beating Miami because you turned up that defensive intensity. That was a solid win for the young Bulls. No Zach LaVine on the floor. That's what you're going to have to get more out of here, and it's going to be interesting to see how Kevin Huerter kind of fits in defensively with this team. I don't expect him to bring anything to the team heavily defensively, but I think the fact that you've got somebody who is going to be great off ball, and you have 2 point guards in your starting lineup who are really good at finding people open in Josh Giddey and in Lonzo Ball, I think that only makes it a heck of a lot easier for the Chicago Bulls to be able to knock down the 3 ball. Now, again, how much is it going to affect winning? I think that impacts more on the defensive side than it does on the offensive side, but I like Kevin Huerter. He's somebody that I am intrigued by having here. He's somebody that I would have wanted back. I think I wanted the Bulls to trade for him back when he was in Atlanta, because, I mean, he was just a pure spark every time that he hit the floor. And I was very surprised when Atlanta traded him away, and it hasn't really benefited them too much since that time has passed. But let me know how you guys feel about Kevin Huerter in the comments below. Like I said, I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love as you always do. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. And we're going to finish it off with Zack Collins. Zack Collins may be the most... What can I say about Zack Collins? This is what I'll say. When Zack Collins gets minutes, I know what Zack Collins is, right? He's never going to be a high scorer. He's never going to be an elite offensive player. He is going to be somebody who has some stretch big ability. He can knock down some of those mid-ranges. He can knock down some of those three-pointers. He's not taking a ton of three-pointers, but I remember right in San Antonio, he was kind of getting, when he was getting more minutes out there, he did shoot at 37% from the field. Same thing in Portland. I'm sorry, 37% from three. Same thing in Portland. About 36% from the three-point line. When he gets those opportunities, he can knock that shot down. So you have that now coming in off of the bench, which I think is impactful, especially with a guy like Sticks. The one thing that I think that you can kind of use him with Sticks out there is that, to me, he's got more of that toughness and grit and defensive fire around the rim. I think if you run somewhat of a too big lineup out there, he's somebody who absolutely can move. He's averaged about one and a half blocks a game, protecting the rim. So he's somebody who adds that ability as well. To me, that too big lineup coming in off of the bench, especially when you need some of that rebounding. He's been a solid rebounder. I think that you can utilize Zack Collins really well on this team. It adds size to a team that just hasn't had any in years. 6'11". This is not, to me, I don't know if this is a long-term move or a future move or what it is, but to me, I do like what it adds to this team right now as far as defensive intensity around the paint, some of the grittiness. We've seen those games where Vooch is just getting absolutely eviscerated down low. That's a time where you can throw in that too big lineup, or even maybe play Vooch a little bit of a 4. I don't want to see a ton of Vooch at the 4, but play Vooch a little bit at the 4, allows Zack Collins kind of to protect that paint. I think that those are things where you can kind of accentuate what Zack Collins brings to the floor. He's solid. That's the word for Zack Collins. Solid. I'm not sitting here blowing any smoke up your backsides and telling you, this guy's going to turn into the big man of the future. He's a big man that, if he is a starting big man, you know what you're going to get. If he is a role-playing big man, you know what you're going to get. He's going to fit whatever you need him to fit. He can be the defender. He can be the guy that's running the floor and catching the lobs and all those things like that. That's what I like about Zack Collins. Just a guy who, off of the bench, you know what he brings. You know what he does. To me, he is kind of like how we talk about Nikola Vucevic, where you go, well, we're not going to be able to move him, but at least we know we got 20 and 10. With him, I kind of look at it as, listen, we know we got about 12 and 8. We know he's going to give us a block. We know he's going to make things difficult around the paint, and I like the fact that you can pair him up with Sticks. But hey, man, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. What are your thoughts on Zack Collins? What are your thoughts on any of these Chicago Bulls that we brought up here today? The 3 that we brought back in the trade, and of course, that first-round pick that we now own all the rights to. Oh, what a trade. Y'all knew what it was going to be. Appreciate y'all for showing love as always, man. I'm going to get up out of here. We will be back for the Chicago Bulls live watch party tonight. Have to say that the right way. The watch party party tonight here on the stream. So set your alarms for 7 o'clock. Come back to the Chicago Bulls Breeze, and we will be live for the Chicago Bulls taking on the Golden State Warriors tonight. That should be a fun game to get things cracking off with, man. But hey, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. See Red Nation, stand up. Make sure you stay tapped in here with the Chicago Bulls Breeze, man, because we're going to be dropping on any Bulls news that does come our way. And of course, we'll be live for every game. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. See Red Nation, stand up. Peace.